Introduction. The Making of Humanity book via the 7 tablets of creation. The cosmos functioned. Heaven rotated in disciplined rhythm. The moon marked its intervals, the constellations rose in appointed season. Rivers swelled and retreated within boundary. Winds moved in regulated breath. The divine assembly stood in ordered hierarchy. Offices were distributed. Decree was codified, names aligned with function. Nothing trembled, nothing rebelled, nothing collapsed, and yet labor remained. For order is not self-sustaining. A vault once stabilized must be watched. Waters once balanced must be monitored. Rivers once regulated must be maintained in channel. Sacred times must be observed and declared. The cosmos, though perfected in structure, required attention. The gods had subdued chaos. They had built and regulated. They had codified and assigned, but they themselves were the machinery of maintenance. Anu watched the highest vault. Enlil directed the breath of the world. He guided the hidden currents below. Lesser gods oversaw constellations, fields, springs, thresholds. Each office required vigilance, and vigilance required endurance. Time, which now flowed in measured cycles, did not pause. Every day Tiamat rose again. Every month sin waxed and waned again. Every year constellations returned again. Repetition is a test of sovereignty. The gods felt it. Not as rebellion, not as crisis, but as weight. For what had been constructed must now be perpetually sustained. In earlier ages, divine conflict had defined existence. The young gods had cried out under Apsu's resentment. They had trembled before Tiamat's uprising. War had been catastrophic, but it had been brief. Administration is longer than war and heavier. The divine assembly gathered once more, not in fear, but in recognition. The cosmos endures. Enlil said, because we tend it. Eve spoke from the deep. The waters flow because they are guided. Anu added quietly, the heavens remain clear because they are watched. Marduk listened. He stood at the axis of all structure, the holder of decree, the organizer of stations, the administrator of the whole. His sovereignty was unchallenged, yet sovereignty that demands constant exertion from the sovereign becomes strain. The world is ordered, Marduk said, but it is not idle. The gods understood every cycle required ritual confirmation. Every seasonal shift required observation. Every sacred interval required proclamation. The temples, though not yet built in the narrative, were already implied in cosmic logic. If heaven functioned like administration, it would one day require earthly reflection. Order in heaven calls for order on earth. The epic have never suggested that creation was for divine leisure. It was for structure, and structure implied service. The question now emerged not from crisis, but from sustainability. Who shall bear the labor? The lesser gods felt the weight most acutely, those assigned to subtle offices. River flow, field fertility, celestial observation worked without ceasing. Their tasks were repetitive, cyclical, unending. The great gods governed. The lesser gods maintained. The system functioned, but at cost. In some manuscript traditions and interpretive readings of the epic, the complaint of divine labor becomes the theological pivot toward humanity's creation, whether expressed dramatically or implied structurally. The underlying principle is consistent. The cosmos requires servants, but not servants of chaos, servants of order. Marduk considered the architecture he had established. The heavens could be read, the seasons could be anticipated, the rivers could nourish, the land could yield, the world was habitable. Habitable worlds invite inhabitants, not as accident, not as intrusion, but as solution. If sovereignty is to endure, Marduk said slowly, its work must be extended. The idea was not born of fatigue alone, it arose from administrative logic. Just as offices were distributed among gods, so too could earthly stewardship be delegated. The maintenance of temples, attending the fields, the declaration of sacred times, the offering of sustenance to divine order. These tasks need not remain solely celestial. Humanity would not be created as rival, nor as equal, nor as threat. Humanity would be created as participants, a living extension of decree. Theologically, this marks a profound shift. Creation in earlier tablets responded to crisis. Now creation would respond to continuity. Chaos require defeat, order requires support. Human beings in this framing are not random afterthought, they are administrative necessity. Embodied labor aligned with cosmic structure. They will observe the moon and declare the month, track the stars and plant in season, maintain canals and riverbanks, offer ritual sustenance to divine offices, reaffirm kingship through earthly reflection of celestial hierarchy.